stank.
Let's do one once.
Oh, that's the dead one. Fucking hell, it smells.
Yeah.
Right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome
Steel's
to
wet.
the 100th
Episode!
episode. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! We finally
Yay.
made it. 100 episodes, and we couldn't have done it without me. I'm the main.
I
main
have
reason.
been surplus to requirements for the majority of the time.
Yeah, because I was gonna open it saying I couldn't. A sweet moment. I was saying I couldn't have done it without you, but I've proven that I actually can. So.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a moot point.
You know, I thought I wasn't plugged in for a minute there. Do you want me to do it?
Yes.
I really don't like the
could
look
you
of
do
this.
the prosecco?
I don't like the look of that at all.
I am planning to get
Captain Dyspraxic on the
Yeah,
scene.
I'm planning to get munted again, even though it's still every time I get drunk on the podcast, it never ends well.
Red face, cut over people, not make
Yeah,
much
but I mean,
sense.
yeah, even the
Right, well, let's celebrate this moment. You've absolutely
there we go
destroyed it. Right, I'll get the sound in
for the ASMR. Oh, that's perfectly done. Wow, look at that! Not even any spillage.
Not even any spit. It would have been fun to do an F1 style podium kind of thing, but
So at the beginning of the podcast.
yeah, I just ruin all the equipment. It'll be the best 5-second episode ever.
What, and it cuts out.
Yeah. So that's it. I think it's a good way to celebrate your 100. Cheers.
And you'll also cheers to 5 more. We're taking it. We're taking
5
it
more episodes.
to 5 more
We're
episodes.
taking it step by step.
We're really not
Yeah.
sure. I only wanted to do 100, so anything else is a bonus, to be honest. But yeah, 100 episodes. How are you feeling emotionally about that?
I feel like we've reached our summit. We've climbed our Everest.
Yeah.
And it's when you get really depressed when you've achieved all your goals.
Yeah. But that's what.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
that there's a certain emptiness to. Well, I guess because it's coming in line. Part of me is like,
That's enough now.
it's the problem is that it's done 1,000 subscribers as well as 100,
Yeah.
and 1,000 subscribers was keeping us. We were a little bit more active, and there was a bit more sort of desire in our
Now
episodes.
we're at the bottom of 2 very steep hills.
It's like Aubameyang when he signed his new contract, his bumper
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
He
I
immediately.
never like a football analogy, but fine.
But immediately
Okay.
his form dipped off.
Yeah.
Because it's just there's a comfort to it.
Yeah.
As soon as we reached 1,000 subs, I think.
The summit's too high now.
Yeah.
Because now we're looking at. Well, in reality, you're looking at 10k subs.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
So it's
And like,
it's
who really 200? Like, who gives a shit?
yeah, 10k's gauche. I'd say it's uncouth to have that many fans, but 100 subs. And shouts out to the Boys Gone Wild fandom. I mean,
We've lost some characters along the
We
way.
have lost.
Should we do an in memoriam?
We should do an even more. Simon KG.
Play some music over it.
Simon KG.
Simon KG.
We can shout out to you.
Ellis.
There's also a new £25 a month patron. Did you see that? Samuel.
Welcome to the team, Samuel. Thank you. Well, we've been looking for these big fish. We've
But
currently
Samuel,
got
I don't know who this Samuel is. He hasn't messaged. He hasn't commented. He's
Well,
like a.
He's like a normal person.
Yeah.
He's like a normal person who doesn't necessarily have to comment on anything. He just likes it, appreciates it, and subscribes.
Yeah.
That's how I'd be a Patreon.
Yeah.
But we love the comments. We
No,
love
we
them.
want
love
more.
the
We
nut-
want the
we love- we
community
want more,
to grow.
yeah. And more nutcases to come through. We should have done like awards for the best comment and stuff. I'm coming up with all these ideas that we could have done for the episode now, but all we thought about was get balloons and maybe some party poppers, which we did.
There was a funny comment recently on the Patreon
clothes one.
about saying that it always looks like
We borrowed someone else's clothes, no matter what they look like.
no matter what they look
Annoyingly,
like.
Shit.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Annoyingly, again, we've fallen into that. It's just really true. Well, you got it. This is like party dress. Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's party attire.
Andrew insisted on opening the champagne because of your days working at the Assembly in Leamington, which is a kind of a weird period in your
Yeah, I
past.
used to work when I was doing my masters. I used to work in a nightclub, which I frequented, so it had its benefits. But then it all got a bit odd. There was a manager there. He did a lot of cocaine, and we used to stay at the end of the night and we'd chill together.
Sure.
At the end of the evening, and then the club closed down, and he ended up living in it, and he said that it was because, and I'm being serious here. He said it was because there's a lot of copper within the Assembly, which is the club, and The Chinese were trying to steal it. Now, I obviously thought, right, okay, we're dealing with someone who's gone mad on drugs.
Yeah,
here.
sure.
But then he showed me, and everyone else is saying to me, because I became his confidant somehow. He was like 33.
Well, you're one of the only people he trusted because he couldn't.
Because
everyone could have been working with the Chinese. He knew that you weren't.
He knows
the Chinese.
I'm not going to be corrupted by copper. I'll tell you that, and I like to live my life that way. But everyone else is saying, Ange, you need to get out of this because you're getting it too deep. But then he showed me text messages saying
from
about
China.
the copper from China. It just said China on the contact. No, and there was like a caravan downstairs, and people were also trying to steal that. So he was living in the caravan.
So it was purely out of paranoia.
Well, the text messages suggest otherwise.
I'm going to come over and steal your caravan.
No, not from the enemies, from like upper management saying it.
Saying
that there's. I don't know.
But then it got smashed up.
No, that was before. So the place got broken into just by hoodlums and it got smashed up.
The big smash up?
Yeah, that was like right after it closed.
Oh, okay. So the copper stuff happened.
Yeah, he was then living in there to protect the copper way after.
Okay, well that makes a bit more sense then, seeing as it was broke. People did break in and smash
but
it
then
up.
I brought it up to a few friends who were DJs, and he said they were like, "Yeah, there's loads of." Josh said, it was like, yeah, there is loads of copper in the assembly. But again, I couldn't trust. Josh is a hippie.
Yeah, how much? Hippies famously have a bad gauge of a lot of copper.
They don't know. They don't know quantities of things.
If it was like a businessman saying a lot of copper,
then I'd be hell yeah.
Yeah, if it's one of these flimsy, flim-flam liberals saying a lot of copper, I'm like, you don't fucking know what a lot of copper is.
But there was a good month, I'd say, where he was like the slightly strange older brother's friend, or like the older friend in a group who had different privileges. It was like he was buying us alcohol, because he could let us into this empty, massive club that we used to go to all the time. So we just used to have like small parties there, and I could bring all my friends.
Really?
But then it became clear that it was just me, him, and all my friends. So I think
he was just like, bring your friends.
I need to see someone.
yeah.
It got progressively darker from there.
I think in that world you see a lot of those characters, especially in like kind of like shitty clubs in towns.
Yeah,
it's like you see a lot of those sort of characters.
Yeah, no, he was really like that. He was the kind of guy. He was the kind of manager where he was like, I was coming up from the toilet and he was there with a mop, and I was like, oh, what's happened there, mate? And he went, oh, someone's thrown up on the stairs. I went, oh, and then kept walking on, and he went, well, that's the thing about management, Drew. I was like, oh, we're coming back now.
So he's giving you a fatherly.
Yeah, he's like, never ask any of your employees to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself. And then continue to mop up the vomit.
Okay,
like,
so it was a
I think that was a lesson.
That was a lesson. That was a parable. That was a life lesson. But yeah, in celebration of 100 episodes, it's hard to quantify what that means. It's impressive, I guess. It's just the problem is it's like
pure content time.
Yeah, the problem is no one commissioned us to do it, so it's not like getting renewed for a fourth season.
Yeah. It's
like,
just we could keep going.
We could keep going.
Indefinitely.
So like it's. I'm sort of celebrating this as a landmark because everyone else seems to, but it's not. It's not in itself a mark of success.
I think you're allowed a bit of just pat yourself on the back for the amount of
time put in.
Not necessarily quality, just the time put in. Not necessarily. We haven't achieved loads, not a lot, but just for the time that's been put in and the quantity of hours every week.
Yeah.
Bar a few, like we've had rest weeks only for 4 maybe.
Been going hard.
4 or 5. So that I think it's more patting yourself on the back for the effort.
Do you have favourite episodes or eras?
Well, I think everyone's favourite episode is the face punch.
Yeah, there's little runs of form, I feel.
Yeah, mostly when something bad happens.
Yeah, there was the kind of 2 golden ages, I think. There was the January one where we were most depressed, right?
Yeah.
There was just really some bad, but it was kind of all we had.
There was really early on during the start of lockdown. There wasn't much comedy in it. We were just both kind of talking quite emotionally about life.
And then it
was almost philosophical.
And then it got really dark. And then it got really funny again in January, where it was just like that was all we had. It was the only
delirium.
It was because it's the weird thing where we're living in this house and like it was. I don't quite know what we did, but because it was it was the hardest lockdown, so it was like Monday. Yeah. Every day was Sunday, basically.
Yeah.
So it was just those were some good ones. And then when it opened up in spring, you get punched in the face. Called the police officer a cunt.
Yeah. True. Yeah, well, as I say, when things are going wrong for me, they seem to go right
exactly.
on here.
Let's start with the first question sent in, who someone sweetly said.
And we apologise if we can't do all your questions. There was just too high demand of questions that came in, so we're only going to be able to do a selection of the very best ones.
Very sweetly,
that was a joke. There wasn't that many.
So our first question's from Madeline W. Peach emoji.
Does peach emoji always signify a
No, it's an apricot emoji, actually. Peach emoji's a sexual. It's a bum.
It's a bum, yeah. And would someone who would do a peach emoji, because I've seen them, would that mean them saying, I have a nice bottom?
I think it is, yeah. I believe it's
Apple.
implying that. I think cherries means breasts.
Interesting. I'd always see that as the bum as well.
Start with Madeline W.
Hiya, I hope this isn't too late to ask a question for your 100th episode. Well done. I'm Maddie. I'm probably not your core demographic. I'm a 17-year-old girl, but anyway, I love your podcast. I'm having boy problems, and I need some advice from some actual boys. This boy, I think, likes me. He's given me all the signals that he likes me, and yet when I asked him if he likes me, he kind of buffered, like when a TV kind of switches off when the Wi-Fi goes, and kind of looked at me and was then like, oh, no, just friends. And then gave me all these reasons as to why he didn't want a girlfriend. However, when I look back on it in retrospect, I definitely think he was bluffing. However, we're now very firmly friend-zoned, and I'm really not sure what to do. Please give me advice. Yeah, that's it. Have fun. Bye.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
Madeline.
Maddie.
First off,
we're gonna have to correct a incorrect assertion in there.
A couple of times, there's a lot. We've actually had quite a few women say, "Not your target demo." When you
are
our target demo.
We didn't intend for you to be
exactly.
our target
It wasn't
demo.
this is meant to be a men's mental and physical health podcast, but it seems to mainly apply to young teenage girls.
I think what's happened is that we don't give good enough advice to men.
No.
So then women just go, he's a guy.
Yes.
Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, well,
about
bad
mine.
advice to men sounds like maybe sounds trustworthy to women.
Yeah,
it's like, this guy knows
this
what's
guy,
up.
we're clearly not alphas.
Yes. Well, there's a couple of agony aunt things which are similar to that. So you're struggling to know if the hard thing with this question is there's a couple of variables at play, and you're 17, which means in the next 6 years you're gonna learn a lot of tough lessons.
Your body's gonna change.
Body's gonna change.
There's
There's
gonna
gonna
be
be
an
bumps
odd
and lumps
time.
everywhere.
You'll get some cysts around your face area. I presume that's what happens with women
Everywhere,
as well as me.
You'll get bubonic plague briefly.
It happens.
It happens.
It's
It
all
happens.
a part of growing.
It's all a fog. But there is gonna. The problem with this scenario is that I don't quite know what signals he sent out that means that you think that he likes you. And when you said that he was buffering, as in he could have been nervous when you confronted saying that it was more.
Or he could have been taken aback because it isn't the case.
Yeah.
I think the key is in the signals. As you say, I'd like to hear more about what exact signals you were receiving. Or like what he was giving
And I
off.
guess the worst case scenario is that you both like each other, and if you decide to think he's not that into you and he is, that's a tragedy. And that does happen occasionally. But from my experience with young people, myself, my friends, nearly always just go off the motto, he's just not that into you. Because, and I think it's a key thing to learn is there's this constant trying to work out if they do or they don't. You can know if they do. And I think you can save yourself a lot and be far more appealing to that person if you assume pessimistically.
People like a chase like hell.
People like a chase. And I think it's a classic thing, especially when you're first getting these feelings where you build up an idea in your head, you chase something because you think it's worth fighting for, and then you keep setting yourself up for hurt. You keep putting yourself in some positions where you're emotionally vulnerable and just keep going around. And if a boy knows he can do that to you, if he knows that you're going to keep bouncing back even though you've given them signals that you're not that into them, then he will carry on doing it, and it will just be on his terms.
And it will make him slightly less interested as well.
100%.
And that's the problem.
So my advice, it's fine to fuck up and ignore this advice that you almost definitely will, because I would.
It's very hard to
but
take.
You will, when you're older, look back and say, for countless boys, the best approach is, if they're not really showing that they're into you, don't pursue it. And if you're, you might even get somewhere casual with that person, but if you've got in your head there's going to be more, you're going to... And just a general thing for boys and girls, if you're flirting and you think he might be into you, it's going to be clear, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I think it would be clear. And also, I think it is important to take it at face value, because it helps practically to take it at face value what he said in terms of, no, this isn't a thing. He was basically saying, I'm not into that. I'd want to be friends. So it works for you practically to take that advice on board, because then you can move on in your own mind. And then also, if he is just bluffing, then if you move on in your own mind, he's going to start wanting you more.
But, I have friends in comedy who are 30 years old and still doing it. So it's not even like a young person thing. It's just a life thing.
Oh, that's normality.
So it's just one of the hardest lessons you've got to learn, which is like the key to success is not playing hard to get as much as like, not chasing someone too much.
Yeah.
And if they show you clear signifiers, just take the fucking hint. People are very bad at taking the hint because you believe what you want to believe, but just be ultra realistic about it. Listen to your friends. And I would say my practical advice would be take a step back, try and see other people, then you see how he feels. Once he feels like the option is disappearing, then it becomes clear. You just got to keep on trying to make it on your terms.
Stay on the market.
Boom. Those are going to be fun throughout the show.
It would have been nice to keep one for every piece of advice.
One piece, yeah, exactly.
But that's a shame.
Right, you ready for another question?
Yeah, let's go for another question.
This one's from George Batchelor.
He went to our school.
Yes. Shouts out, George. Thank you very much.
Congrats on the 1,000 subs, boys, on the 100th episode, just in time. And, I wanted to ask you a question on, have you ever got involved in a workplace romance? I had something happen recently. It fell apart a little bit. And since then, it's been awkward as hell as we still work together. And we probably will do for the next year or at least. So have either of you ever done the ugly with someone at work?
My answer is yes, and I've only worked remotely.
Really?
Yeah, I've fallen in love with 3 different women via Slack, our internal messaging
Oh yeah, you
process.
had quite a bizarre dystopian futuristic sort of like
love affair.
Sim love affair.
Yeah, with 3 different ladies.
It was almost like Her.
Yeah, it was a lot of it, because you don't get to see them in the flesh. You see them on Google Hangouts though occasionally.
Okay, which is a sexy enough.
They've unfortunately I've got over all of them now.
Really?
Yeah, there's been some tough few months in between.
No, I remember there's not that many people who work at your company, is there?
Correct. No.
So it is the kind of old idiom. It's not that old an idiom. It's not really an idiom, but it's the idea that if someone's...
Couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah.
If someone's in your workplace, they do just become immediately more attractive just by
Well, there's
proximity.
more. I've got access to more individuals than most people because...
You got access.
I tried to change the word.
In your big database.
I try. I have a lot of information on a lot of different women. But
I just imagine you on a big computer with one of those old school mouses, just scrolling down with your glasses in the nose, just looking.
Oh, yeah, she'll do.
Yeah.
Oh no, she lives in the Nottingham Forest. Need someone a bit closer.
With your blue light glasses.
Don't want to have a long distance.
I've got a lot of access.
Oh, London? Yeah, there you go. No, I kind of fell in love with my first manager.
Is the power dynamic, was that a turn on for you? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
We love powerful women at this pod.
Yes, it was.
Not too powerful.
Not too powerful. Keep
like
yourselves in
Angela
check
Merkel,
a little bit.
not for me. Too
No,
powerful.
We don't.
But anything below Angela Merkel, yes,
Yeah.
please. Jacinda, New Zealand Prime Minister, yes, please. That's enough power for me.
Okay,
But
still too much for me.
German Chancellor, that's too much. I couldn't hack at.
No, I think my most power I can get is someone in the civil service. I don't want like key decision makers. So I fell in love with my first manager. We used to have something called feedback and development, which happened an hour every week. and I used to look forward to those hours every week. I dreamt about those hours every week. Because one, it was your only face-to-face contact with another individual who worked at the company because you're working from home.
Yeah.
But we got on like a house on fire. And
did it have a sort of submarine mentality of like being in this kind of enclosed environment?
Yeah.
It was like it made emotions more intense.
We also genuinely got on. I mean,
Okay.
she's the only one. The other two were completely fabricated.
Okay.
This is one we actually got on. I actually spoke to her. But it got to the point where my mum was involved. This is it can't, because when you're working from home, your mum's in your workplace. When I was living at home.
Oh, okay. This is way back.
So I was having my F&D, as they call it, and mum was outside the door.
There wasn't much going on as well at that time, was there?
No, this was lockdown.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very early on.
Yeah.
No, it was before way before lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like two and a bit years ago. Anyway, so 2 and a bit years ago, and mum was standing outside the door listening to one of them because she does that. Well, not frequently. I think she just heard me being very animated, and then it finished, and she just opened my door and went, "You are such a fucking flirt, aren't you?" And she said she was flirting back. So there's a thing.
Okay.
It's a thing. And it got to the point where she, very unprompted, just said at one of our F&Ds, I mentioned her boyfriend.
Oof.
And I came crash it.
How much did that hurt?
Not at all, because it was only ever like I fancied her, and I'd never met her in the flesh.
It's a workplace thing.
It's a workplace thing. You need that flirting.
It's like when I was flying with Sam.
And things got a bit frosty. Things got pretty tasty when you're slapping posters on.
There was a flyer, and Sam was like, I'm not that. I'm going to kind of fake a crush because I'm bored.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I'm going to fake pretending I'm sort of semi-interested.
Anyone that
I'm
you
just
get
bored
on.
as fuck.
It's like, you choose your friends, you don't choose your family, nor do you choose your colleagues.
No.
Therefore, with that lack of choice, any kind of shining light in there that isn't really a shining light, you perceive it to be a shining light, and therefore you flirt in order to maybe make the day go by. And it's just like, with such few options and just being so bored, it seems genuine in your mind.
Have you ever masturbated over these women?
Absolutely not.
No, I mean in your head. That's completely.
Absolutely not. Categorically not.
No, but like in your head.
No.
You mean when you're scrolling through the archives of your brain and you've exhausted Eve Longoria circa 2008
Alexander Daddario and Eddie Armour. Mostly Eve Longoria. Circa whenever the fuck.
And what's her name from Hollyoaks has been
Georgie Porter.
She's
on TikTok now.
Does it still do it for you?
Yeah, she's married though.
That's a shame. But surely, so none of the kind of concept of like the hot fantasy of like you bump into each other in a pub.
No, I'd feel absolutely disgusting if I did that.
Really?
Yep, genuinely.
Really,
I think I would never wank over someone in my workplace.
It doesn't mean
I'm fucking certain.
It doesn't mean like you get their avatar or their profile image up.
Their avatar that I've made on Sims for them. One called Andrew, one called X. I would say. Oh, they're gonna go in the pool.
That's what I'd do if I had workplace crushes over remote working. What I'd do is I'd make a Sims house with all three.
Keep it remote,
and then I'd just have sex with them on Sims, and then you'd get the urge.
Because that really fills the urge, doesn't it? That really satisfies.
Just press
everything.
woohoo.
No, I think have you ever wanked over someone that you beat in a workplace with?
No. Well, the problem is, I was working there briefly, but let's just say it was an aggressively unsexual atmosphere because I was trying to leave at every opportunity, and I purposely didn't make friends because I felt so uncomfortable working there, and it just didn't. It felt like it's very much like I know I'm going to leave. Anything that I embarrass myself, I will see these people again at some point.
But can you imagine wanking over one of them?
No. Well, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
If it wasn't my dad's cum.
I really can't. And look.
No, I could easily wank over
I'm not trying to come off as
I could easily.
That's the thing.
I'd wank over them.
I'm not trying to come off as some sort of non-master. We all know I'm a freak. We all know. Yeah. But that is crossing the line,
He says cunt in the bedroom.
That's... What else are you going to say? What else are you going to say? No, I'm...
Come here, you cunt.
No, I don't call the woman a cunt.
Come on then, you cunt.
No, it's the actual vagina is the cunt, not the woman. You are grossly misinformed.
That's how I use cunt in the bed. Go on then, you cunt.
Yeah, I can imagine you lying down in your bed with a cigarette.
Go on then, you cunt.
And your moustache. Fucking hell.
Go on then, you cunt.
No, right. The Prosecco's going down nicely. Yeah. I don't think I'd be.
You do.
I don't.
What you do is wank over your colleagues.
I do not, man. And I never could. One, it's just about facing them at work, and two,
you've wanked over people at school, though.
You can't see them like that. I've wanked over people at school. Well, I was in a relationship with one of them.
No, you've wanked over people at school.
What, people in our school?
At some point, everyone has.
Who have you wanked over?
No, but you do.
Let's hear this now.
You're a 13-year-old boy. You masturbate over the idea of people at school. That is, don't.
I'm not. Yeah, go on. You've just had a couple of Prosecco's and now you're oversharing.
No, but I'm saying that is the same. I think regularly people will masturbate.
I think there's a difference between viewing someone as a student, a fellow student, and like a fellow colleague.
I view them as a student.
You still do. That's the problem, isn't it? There's something about. I feel like we've not really gone.
No, this is answering his question.
Yeah.
He's there. He's watching this right. George Batchelor's watching this right now with a pen and paper.
Well, he's confused as to whether he can wank over her or not.
He's watching both sides. Like,
God,
I don't know who's the fuck.
True.
Both. This is like Frost Nixon.
But I think it sounds like he's already fucked her.
Yeah. My guy's done the dirty.
Guy's done the dirty. If I know GB, he's definitely been in.
Of course he has.
He's been.
Of course he has. We went to school with this guy, and the school we went to was a school of shagging.
Wasn't he pussy? He was Pussy Slayer, wasn't he?
He was Pussy Slayer. Pussy Slayer. We were part of the same, society.
I think. Well, I like work romances.
The thing
if
is,
they were to happen, if I was to physicalize one of my fake work manifest, whatever's the best word for having sex with a lady from work, a virtual lady from work, well, it depends how closely you're working with them. I think the best thing you've got to do is you go in there, you go in the office. If things have like gone badly and you've made it clear that you guys aren't going to be together for whatever reason, you go in there and you talk to her straight away. You've got to get that awkwardness out there. So you can get a nice working, even be friends with people that you had sex with. If you just go in and you don't make it awkward, you've got to be confident, go in, say whatever you're going to say, make a few jokes. Don't just like awkwardly avoid her. If you go in and just keep some sort of working relationship going, then you can just almost forget about it.
Well, I guess the problem is do you want it to carry on? If not, that's completely fine.
I think he was saying that it was kind of come to an end.
It's come to an end.
If it's coming to an end because of work, I think that's If you're into her, you're into her, and if she's into you, then she's into you, vice versa.
But what is your advice? This scenario, do you try and avoid getting in this situation?
Nah.
Or do you just
live life? Live fucking life. Don't let work. Imagine like work getting in the way of a good, even if it's just a fling.
A good banging.
Flings are fun. A good banging. It could be.
We all need a good banging every now and again.
We really do.
What we are is we're a dirty pair of walking boots. Occasionally, we need a good just banging, just to get that excess dirt off.
Horrible analogy. Yeah, hate it. Hate it. Get the muck off your shoes, kids.
Just bang, bang, bang. We're a pair of football boots caked in mud every now and again. We need someone to pick us up and just bang the shit out of us.
You need a good spring cleaner. Yeah, you do. But it could either be. I think the worst thing that can happen is if you have sex twice.
Okay.
A one-night stand, whatever, you can get over. Yada yada yada. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but
if you have sex twice, you've seen no. If you have sex twice, then it's like you've had sex too many times for it to be just a one-night thing. There might be something there, but then you haven't had it again. Then you're in the awkward phase.
Yeah.
It can either. You should always definitely go for these things, absolutely, because unless it has to be clear that they're into it, because you don't want any kind of potential rejections going on when you work with them.
That's true.
But at the same time,
you don't want to be the lech at the Christmas party.
After work drinks.
Yeah.
Now, I've never been to after work drinks because I work with my flatmates at home. So I think that's just drinks with friends. Me and Adam have gone to the pub, but I wouldn't call us colleagues.
No.
But that is a place, and I've heard about it, it's quite a mysticised environment. Now, that's where things can happen. People get sloshed. People get effed. Effed in the B.
What, fucked in the butt?
Fucked in the butt. What's
happening at afterwards? You Get fucked in the butt.
I don't want to tell you some of the stories I've heard.
Neither of us really do traditional work, because I don't know. I didn't know that people were getting fucked in the butt. On like a Tuesday after work drinks, HR might fuck you in the butt.
F in the B, not HR. Not HR. Those are a bunch of cronies.
Really, they're not.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't.
Would you F HR in the B?
Yeah, no. I'd love to. I'd love to F and HR in the B. However, the problem is when you're having sex with an HR person, all they're thinking about is the amount of forms they're gonna have to fill in afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good joke.
That was good. No, it was good.
Yeah,
I was enjoying it.
Yeah, but you just kind of like nodded along.
No, because the problem is I knew exactly what you were saying before, so I was waiting for you to finish.
So that's a shame.
Yeah.
But no. Go for it is always my advice, because imagine this person could either be a great fling, if flings are great, or it could be the woman you're going to marry. Probably isn't. It's probably not, but still could be. And imagine looking back and think, oh, work got in the way.
George, you're young, you're good looking. You got to be sowing those wild oats, because.
But if it is finished, just go up to her the next day at work. Don't like go up to her. Find an excuse to talk to her. Make it non-awkward. Crack some jokes. Be confident. Show her that you're not awkward about it, and that she won't be awkward about it. And then you can move on with your working relationship / friendship.
I think so, for sure. And also, I think something that's kind of essential to maintain is a bit of that sexual tension, because I certainly like just to remind yourself, that you're still a viable sexual.
Yeah, you work at home by yourself. Yeah, continue.
You need to.
So you just look in the mirror.
No, you need to make sure there's still a tiny bit of sexual tension with a couple of people. It doesn't have to be fucking. It doesn't have to be even like out and out flirting. There just needs to be. And you've had sex with us. There's gonna be this sexual tension for a long time. You have to be married for 30 years and divorced with kids before that sexual tension disappear. You've got that on lock. So enjoy that for a bit.
Yeah.
And then what I'd say, I don't know what job you're doing, George. I don't know what career you're doing. But if you
do another synonym for job.
For what?
Job.
I don't know what work.
I'm not sure what industry you're in.
Don't know what ladder you're trying to climb. But if you are trying not to stagnate and you're trying to think, right, what would be good for me is just to fuck my life and just say, let's move to a different place. If you know that you're going to leave this place, let's say for example, this is just, maybe you're not going to leave now, maybe you won't leave for a year. If you know in 2 months I'm leaving, then you go on a fucking spree, my guy. That's what you do. You got 2 months. Hand in your or make it under time pressure. Hand in your 2 weeks notice. Then it's free game, and you let them know. The best.
Are you talking about the women in the office?
Or men?
Or men? No, shut up. Are you talking about people in the office?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just checking.
Or not just out and about.
Yeah, because I was like, I think you're missing the question here.
It's like the most successful one night stand I've ever had was in Dublin when I was leaving the next day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the one where you were living in Leamington Spa and she wanted to fist you. All the other way around.
Was that one the whole process lasted 20 minutes? Does that count as a one night stand?
No, I think when
it starts and finishes,
when she leaves the room really quickly and you just come out shaking after 15 minutes. You're like, she wanted to do some weird things, man. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool.
It was in my house.
Yeah.
It was a local. That's why you don't have sex with the locals.
No, I'm not going to condone that message. Sounds a bit dodgy. Don't have sex with the locals.
That would be my advice for, when you're at uni, you're in a student bubble, but there's locals.
And what shouldn't you do?
You shouldn't have sex with them. That's what I didn't do, out of respect.
Out of respect, even though we got terrified when she said fist me.
She also said she asked me if I want to read her screenplay. No, thanks, babes.
Which are two quite hard things to do in the same session.
20-minute periods.
20-minute period.
We met on the D floor of my living room.
Yeah.
Didn't know who she was. 5 minutes. I'm in my room. I am on copious narcotics, luckily. So that means that it's the least I've ever wanted to perform, and the most I've been blessed by it. But it also told me.
So were you in your head? Were you going, please don't go in a Russian, please don't go in a Russian?
So I don't.
Just so you didn't have to.
Do you know what it is? It's like, I think there's sort of like a male attitude, which is like when you're sort of offered sex from a reasonably attractive woman, it's rude to. It just feels like the muscle memory is, well, of course I would. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And I think I learned a valuable lesson that day.
Yeah.
It's fine to say no if you're a man.
Because it can end in tears.
It can.
Which it essentially did.
Because obviously the risks aren't as high, so it's like...
I remember looking at you, because I was DJing and looking at the dance floor, and then you just honestly seeing you with like your tail between your legs just walk in and just start dancing like... And remember stopping. I was like, I'm gonna have to ask you what the fuck just happened, and your face is just white. And she asked me to read a screenplay, and then she said, "Fist me, call me daddy, call me daddy, call her."
No, she yeah, hit her. No, hit her.
Hit her, yeah.
And not slap, punch.
Yeah, punch.
Yeah.
Closed fist.
Yeah. So I gave her the 1-2, and then I left. I was like, this is not fun at all.
Yeah. So basically what Horatio's saying is it could be worse, George.
It could be worse. But thank you very much, George. Thank you for your continued... Oh, I just got sent a voice message right this second. So
well, let's go straight in.
Rose just sent me this. Okay.
Rose clearly doesn't have any respect for deadlines, but we'll listen. We'll hear you out anyway.
I might be too late, but
she has paused it. She's got respect. She has respect for deadlines. Rose, I'd take it back immediately.
What do you guys think of the ick phenomena, and should it interfere with relationships? And if a girl has ever given you the ick, what was it?
Great.
Well, we were actually one of the pioneers of the ick phenomenon.
We do. One of our most viral clips has been the excellent getting the ick clip where, because we were told by a friend, the most hilarious ick, which was seeing a man chase after a ping pong ball.
Ping pong ball, yeah.
Which makes complete sense.
And to be honest, there's been so much ick chat after that.
Yeah.
We were early. We were early on the game.
We were early.
Now, it depends what the ick is, Rose.
Yeah.
If the ick is when he ties his shoelaces, he burps.
Wait, what? Wait,
Yeah.
run me through that.
Right, so he ties his shoelaces because the motion of it, he's got gas. He's got IBS, he burps, okay?
There's other things into that.
Let's change what I
No,
just
I like
said.
that one.
Okay,
I like that one. Is it just specifically when he goes like that? Because I think that
It's when he finishes.
The reason it would be the ick is not him going, I can't, sorry. It's the fact that it's completely normalised.
There you go.
That's what's embarrassing, is
Yeah,
the fact that he goes,
Yeah. If that's the ick,
if
that's the ick, but everything else is the man. He's the man of your dreams. You love him, etc. But if he
what are you going to say? I don't know what side you're coming on. Are you saying carry on?
Well, funnily enough, Rachel, I haven't finished what I'm saying, so that's the difficulty I have in assessing what I'm saying because it's not done yet.
No.
If his ick is something minor, like when he puts his glasses on, he burps.
Is that minor?
Yeah.
Every time. That's pretty disgusting.
That's a lot, actually. Because that's why I wanted to change it.
Both are disgusting.
If the ick is if he's chased once you saw him chase after a ping pong ball, and he didn't like it, that ick. But he's great in everywhere else. You know, that's one kind of ick. Or if the ick is that he likes children, that can then be a different thing.
Sexually.
He's
a paedophile.
No, he's good. If he's good with kids. Get him. Now, I think there's different ranges of icks that I've seen. Like, as minor as chasing after a ping pong ball. Because that's almost an ick that...
I feel being a pedo, it stops being an ick.
Exactly. We need to find... Because I know what I'm trying to say, but I haven't got the examples yet.
Yeah.
Which is what we need to build. So, you can have an ick, like, of chasing after a ping pong ball, right? Now, that is it's kind of an unavoidable ick for people if you're going to play ping pong at any point. Like, you're going to... Chasing a ping pong ball... You've done it many times. I've done it many times.
Sure, I'm not embarrassed.
And that's just the only way you can avoid that ick is if you don't play ping pong, right? Sure. Therefore, it's not like a major ick.
Never.
It's never, and that's my one rule in relationships. I'm not going to play ping pong. But then I've seen icks that are just like you're just basically listing what like almost a toxic male person does, or you've got like serious problems with the relationship, and then people are defining them as icks. Yeah. And an ick needs to be nice and gentle rather than that. So it depends what the ick is what I'm saying.
I would say I think going back to the first question we had and the kind of general, after having a brief listen to some of these questions, I think it's going to be some of the general advice we're going to have. If you're a woman and you think that's giving me the ick, if you're telling my friends he does this thing and it gives me the ick,
you probably don't like him.
It's going to be deeper than that.
Yeah, you probably don't like him.
It's going to be deeper than that.
Because with the people that you genuinely like, you kind of get over
You ignore those things.
However, it's one of those things. The longer you are... It depends on the length of time you've been together. Because after like 3 dates or something, someone can do something that's a bit like, ugh. But then if you start to actually really like them, that can become a more endearing thing. But if you start to realise that you're not that into them, it becomes an infuriating thing.
Yeah.
So I think icks are kind of moderated by the amount that you actually like the person.
Yeah. So what's your advice then on the ick front?
It depends how much you like him. It's if you can see it, if it's really frustrating you, but it's really early in the relationship or dating or whatever. But there's like it's only that's like frustrating you about him. Then keep going, see what's happening. But if there's like you're not that into it, but this is something that's really annoying you, then I think it's a sign that you're not that into him.
Yeah, I guess so.
It can be a sign or not. I think.
What's giving you the ick then? That was the question.
It's good. Well, I mean, all I can think of right now off the top of my head is just loud eating, but that's a general ick. That's not like a relationship ick.
Yeah.
But then
But
I
it
find,
would be-
but
but
what
in a
I
relationship-
find when I'm really into someone, I don't really care that much if they're eating loudly in my
Yeah.
ear, and that is like huge because that boils
Yeah,
my
yeah,
blood.
yeah.
My best friends do it. I want to fucking stab them.
Yeah.
But if I'm really into a girl, she can do it. It's fine. I'll get over it.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to think. I
Yeah.
think it's nearly
my
always
mum
deeper.
has this click in her whenever she eats fajitas. Only fajitas for some reason.
And you're a fajita family.
It's my favourite meal. It's my favourite meal. And for some god awful reason, whenever we have it, whenever she eats it, she bites and then. And I just like, why, mum? Even my own mother, why?
Wait. I don't understand what happened there.
It's like her jaw. There's something about her jaw that when she eats a fajita, or I guess like a filled wrap, we don't eat many filled wraps in our house. We haven't previously.
But that implies
There's implied there's something wrong with her fucking jaw, yeah.
Yeah, but why wouldn't... What happens when she eats a carrot?
Normality. I think it's
So
about
what's
the,
about... Is it
the
how
size
big?
of...
Yeah.
Okay, open your jaw.
So a burrito would be similar.
Do that again. Yeah, but really
burrito.
wide, and you can feel there's a slight... When
Yeah.
it fully extends.
So a
I think-
burrito would cause a similar issue.
Yeah, the problem isn't the inclusion of rice or not.
No, I'm just checking what's the variables that split. Because you say only at fajitas.
I know, but that's the thing. I feel we don't
It could
eat-
be Old El Paso special spice mix.
It could be. It could be, which is even more infuriating because of how fucking delicious it is. But that's the issue.
So your mum give you
My
the
mum
ick,
gives
and
me the
that's
ick.
why you're no longer fucking her.
Exactly. But that's it. Well, that's the reason. Even my mum, who I love very dearly,
Yeah.
that's an ick, right? She gives me that ick when that happens, which is fairly rarely, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I can move past that. But it's different in a loving relationship, I think, where I think even if I really loved a girl and she had that clicking of a thing, the difference between love in a friendship or a family way versus an actual relationship way, you'll get over that ick.
Yeah. Just trying to think. I'm just trying to think what even icks I'd have.
Dancing, if they're bad dancers.
Yeah, you I remember. I think we've actually had this conversation.
If they're bad
before.
dancers, that's an ick.
Yeah.
That's a big ick. But I don't think that. I think that's more than an ick. Because dancing says a lot, man.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
So it might be deeper than an ick.
I think it's deeper than an ick.
I don't know. I'll have to think on my icks and maybe come back to you. Right, should we go for one more?
One more.
Well, another one.
Yeah. No, okay. Sorry, you confused me.
All right, this is from Jim Reed.
Hello, Horatio. Hello, Andrew. Hope you're both well. I'm
We
after
are.
some advice. Basically, I've applied for a job at a TV production company and lied about work experience that I didn't do. I have since been offered an interview, and now I'm in the position where I don't really know what to do. Do I come clean, or do I not mention it at all and hope they don't bring it up, and then I haven't really lied, or do I just keep on lying and dig myself a hole? Thanks, bye.
Okay, what I'll say about this, Jim, is that keep lying and dig myself a hole. That is a mentality issue. All right, you keep lying. You do not bring this up. It happens all the time. It's an industry built on bullshit. You need to lie to get those little things. Fine. I don't know how big the work experience you lied about.
This is the problem. What happens?
could
what
be
Happens
if
if
it's-
what happens if he's applying for to be a man on stilts and he can't use stilts?
That might be an issue.
You should come clean if you're going to be on stilts in any way.
But a general thing about the industry of film, show business in general, is it is in itself a bullshit industry where you're all lying about work experience metaphorically anyway. It's all about, yeah, I could do that. fuck, I can't do that. And then you do it because you have to. So I would say you double down. Don't say this mentality of dig myself a hole with more lies. That's not going to get you anywhere. Lying is permitted. It's fine. You're in this space. It's full of deviants and paedophiles, and you want a seat at that table. Of course you do.
You want to be
Of course
there.
you do.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? You know, it's this culture. You're the culture, baby. You've got to have a seat at that pedo table. And I get it.
Pedos run the world.
Exactly. And the way to get one of those precious seats is you have to lie your way to the top. So don't say, dig myself a hole with this line. That is the wrong mentality. You need to say, I'm going to bullshit my way. Because how else does that work?
It's very camp.
What?
You need to say.
Well, it's show business, baby. This is the show business one. And the Prosecco as well. The show business and Prosecco. It's funny how I went more camp in response to that. But I think, what's the other...
Everybody's lying.
What's the other option? Sorry, by the way, this is really embarrassing. I lied about this one.
I wasn't a runner on Wes Anderson's film. Who gives a shit? You'll be able
You
to...
brought it up to them.
A piece of advice that I think I saw on TV, or even a friend.
No less.
On our television airwaves. No one has a clue what they're doing in their jobs, really.
No.
Just once you realise that, because even in my small experience in jobs, no one, especially when you're starting out, jobs are very specific, and the idea of experience and qualifications is basically irrelevant once you get to the job, because you need to learn everything again, and you can learn it all on the fucking job.
Yeah.
Most people are capable of doing most jobs with a certain amount of experience. Most people when they start, don't have a fucking clue what the fuck they're doing, and loads of people still don't know what they're doing now. So don't worry about going into it without not thinking, well, I haven't got the right experience, because the right experience doesn't exist.
Especially when you're young. It's like
if you're going to be good at the job, you will.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, and I think in the interview, I know you're thinking in your head now, you're freaking out about specific questions about the work experience. Lie. Just bullshit fully. Yeah. Don't be coy. Confidently do it. I assume the work experience you're lying about is probably being a runner on some sort of set. Yeah. You do a bit of research on it. They're not going to check on it, because why the fuck would someone... They don't care.
They'll definitely won't check.
And if they do, then fine, that's the risk you took. But as soon as you bring it up, if it's a competitive role, why would they
take a lie?
Yeah. And also they'd know that, all right, you're not a bullshitter. This is not the right job for you. So my advice is lie.
Keep going.
Change your mentality.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. Right, this question's not a voice note, but is it gay if you get a boner during a prostate check by a male doctor? Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. Next question.
It's guaranteed.
That you've got to put 2 and 2 together there.
Yeah. If a male doctor sticks his finger up your ass and your first thought is, oh, I'm sexually enjoying this because I'm a gay man, you're a gay boy. You're just, it's double down. I'm 100% gay.
This erogenous zone in the male bum is a lie. It's purely, it's gay. It's gay.
To be honest, if blood rushes to your penis so it comes erect, that is the body's way of saying I'm gay.
You've got to listen to your blood.
Yeah, you've got to listen to your blood. You've got to listen to your body.
Yeah,
they're complex things, and your body's telling you you're gay. You're a gay man, Adam.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but you're a gay man.
That's a gay, yeah, 100%.
All right, here's another one from Sam Brown, Patron.
13.
Oh.
So, I'm a 17-year-old boy gone wild in year 13. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a party with one of my female friends.
My guy.
There's always been that something with, but nothing ever happened. Then we were chatting all night, and she told my friend, who then told me that she had a thing for me, but that had in a year been fucked over 3 times and didn't want to hurt me. The next night, we got off, and I started messaging her the next day until she aired me. What's weird is she still replies on the group chat. I go to school with her. She's coming to all my stand-up gigs this week. So, do I address it since it's awkward now, or just leave it until school's over? Also, quick side note, what do you think of CBD vapes? Have you tried them? And if you did, what do you think of them? And what liquids do you use? Love the potty. See ya.
It's very sweet, Sam.
That was very sweet.
Sam Brown, another 17-year-old boy. Part of me was thinking, are they the 17-year-old girl and the 17-year-old boy? Is it the same story? If not, maybe both of their love troubles could be sorted if we could maybe link them up.
This will be our first BGW wedding.
Exactly. The BGW themed wedding.
We could officiate.
It has to be done in
Has
this.
to be done here. Very limited seating. Poor catering options, but fun in some horrible way.
All right, that's
What-
an interesting one.
let's
I thank you for your honesty. Thank you for vulnerability.
I agree. I get that. I like that we get these
Yeah.
questions.
It's very
nice. It's lovely.
I think
And
the voice note.
I guess it's the
voice note adds-
anonymity.
Yeah, and it's harder to do agony aunt stuff when you demand voice notes. Like
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
you
yeah,
get a
yeah.
lot more of it and stuff, but there is an added extra thing for just hearing what people sound like.
Yeah. True. 100%.
So let's break down what he said.
So
So what he said is that he was at a party with a girl who he liked,
one of his
and
female friends.
friends. And then he heard from one of his friends that she liked him. They got off that night. He messaged her the next day.
Ghosts.
She aired him.
Yeah.
And then she's responding to their group chat and not to him,
So
which
she's
is a big fucking. That's a slap in the face. It's
The
rude.
thing is, it absolutely is rude because it's showing that she's active. I mean, the thing with airing nowadays is if someone's not replying to you for more than a day, what person doesn't have their phone on them? Do you know what I mean? So even
it's a
though
hide.
she's replying on the group chat,
I mean,
if she hasn't been replying, she's
Yeah.
not replying. Do you know what I mean? But if she knows you're on that chat, then it's a dead move to do.
that's why the kind of the male excuses have to be so extraordinary now when they
Yeah.
have to explain why they didn't message for 3 days because there's
Yeah.
no excuse.
There's
ever.
nothing, yeah.
So that's why I've seen a comedian recently do a bit about it. It's like literally they have to be like, oh, sorry, I was in the desert.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Fucking Namibia. I was out in the forest in Canada.
I was
like,
out experimenting on penguins.
yeah,
and
it
that
has
too.
to be just like my granddad died or something. You just have to
Yeah.
really push it out there.
Yeah.
The reoccurring theme of the advice in this episode is that's hurtful. No, that's not the reoccurring advice, but the reoccurring advice is
Is that Blake? Fucking
is
hell.
he's not that into you, she's not that into you. Take that as an idiom, you know. Just take the hint when if someone feels like they're pulling away, let them pull away. Don't chase after.
Yeah, don't like. I mean, something like, the conversation about double messaging and whether that's a good thing or not and whatever.
Never.
Now, but that's also, I think that's also right. It depends in the situation of whether to double message or not.
I would double message in your scenario. Of course I would, because it would drive me crazy. But it's the wrong thing to do.
If it's the wrong thing to do at that stage of it, basically. I think it's, if you want to say something, you can just fucking double message. But with this, where it's a bit of a fragile situation where it's all very early or just like there's only a small thing happens, fucking leave it. Leave it, because if it is going to work out, if there's a chance of it working out, you messaging again and going, why are you not replying to me? Nothing. That's not going to help, man. It's gonna make her realize that she's got the power. You got
to hold on to the power. You got to play it cool, and you got to be ready to the thing that I wish I knew is that you've got to be ready to lose everything. You've got to be ready to lose, because then
you've got to be ready to move to Peru.
You've got
lose
to
all your possessions and say, I don't give a fuck about life.
If they're in
and
a
then
fight,
all of a sudden you'll get a scroll that washes up on the Peruvian ocean, and it will be her.
You're right.
And you're right. Yeah, sorry, Granddad died. And then boom, you're in.
You're in. Back on the plane. So yeah, it's always play it cool. It's so easy.
She might be doing the same as well. Don't take these kind of I guess it's a confusing mixed message kind of thing, because
I don't know what's going on.
He heard from a friend.
She might be trying to process it.
She might be going through it as well. She's working out, what does this mean, etc., etc. I mean, you hear from a friend that she's into you. You then get with her on the night. I think it's fair to say that those are two pretty strong facts to say that she's into you. But then also, are you that into her? Is a good question. You've heard that she was into you. Were you into her before that? Or was it just because you've heard
I think he probably, or is he into the confusion she's causing? And I think potentially it can be one of those things where it's like you're now, because you feel a slight rejection because you got aired, suddenly you're more attracted to them. And you've got to play them at their own game.
Exactly. She could be playing her own game.
Yeah, you got to
She
rock
might
up.
do. Don't get disheartened by it.
Get some new trainers or something. Just just act like you've had a breakup and you're doing a new power stance.
Exactly. Get yourself a
dye
nice
your hair
cravat.
blue. Something bold. Rock
Something
up
bold.
Peacock.
Okay, our advice
Hire
is do
3
something mental to your appearance.
Yeah.
Do something mental
Face tat.
and permanent. It has to be permanent.
Face tat.
If you want to make that statement, it's got to be permanent.
3 hookers, take them into school the next day. Make sure they're taller than you.
They're 17 years old. I'm liking it. Not the hookers.
Great. Thank you very much.
But don't be disheartened. This happens. Girls do this. Boys do this. People do this. It's all about the fucking. That's what the dating game.
Women are from Venus, men are from Mars.
I think we should try and end all of our anime and stuff. Right, let me do one of mine. Sorry, it was just a Boris Johnson
That's
news
all right.
notification. Shut up. Shut up. Right. Okay, we'll do that one. Okay, well, because it's a bit different. It's a bit different. But it'll be nice. Maybe we can look back on some of our favourite Boys Gone Wild in a way. It's from Lily. It says, "Hello, Wild Boys. Congrats on the 100th ep.
Thank you.
Question: if you could have any guests on the podcast, alive or dead, who would they be and why?"
Okay. And Danny DeVito is excluded from the running. Danny DeVito is not. If we could have a guest, dead or alive, on it would be Peter the Hermit, wouldn't it?
As I guess the original Boy Gone Wild from one of your earlier podcasts.
Well, we did history together.
But also because purely his place in history, his time in history, he was the first Boy Gone Wild that then started off a kind of chain reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the inspiration for many other Boys Gone Wild.
I think so.
Peter the Hermit, as many of you I'm sure know, being the leader of the People's Crusade, which was kind of the prologue to the First Crusade, where it all went horribly wrong.
I'd like to get him on the pod because I'd just like to pick his brains. I think he'd just have that sort of energy. He'd be a good third man on the pod.
He'd be a great third man. He'd be quite incensed about things.
Yeah, I'd say I'd change the. I would ideally want a sort of round table sort of discussion because I think the key with these historical figures is to have them bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't mind. I would throw
you want
in
Peter the Hermit having a discourse with Serena Williams.
Yeah, I'd get. Well, yeah, sure. Serena Williams. I mean, I was thinking. I think Gandhi as well because I think he'd be fucking weird as shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that. I mean, it's the most obvious answer, but it is the person who I'd most like to interview would be Jesus. Like,
of course, yeah.
I would just love to have Jesus on the pod.
I had a dream that I met Jesus the other week. Actually,
Really?
Last week, yeah.
Could be in a vision.
Quite disappointing.
Really?
Actually.
It could have been a vision.
Wasn't the charismatic guy he's been cut out?
Was he kind of nervous?
Yeah, he was just a bit like, oh, what? I was like, oh, what, you gonna do something for me? And he was shy. He did it.
Yeah.
He performed the miracle, but he was a bit coy about it, and they didn't have much to say after. It was
Sounds like a sexual favour when you said the miracle.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what?
Sucking you off?
Yeah, sure. That's a miracle, isn't it? That's an absolute
it's
miracle.
It's a miracle if someone wants to do
Sucks
that.
me off. Absolutely.
Turning cock into cum.
Against the laws of nature.
What was the dream about?
It was just me meeting Jesus.
Was this genuine dream?
Yeah, genuinely. I can't remember. It was one of those really hazy ones, but I remember firmly meeting Jesus and being thoroughly unimpressed.
Well, that we would all. I'm telling you now, if you met you would be thoroughly unimpressed because he's the most built-up guy ever. So even if he was sick, you'd still be like,
a bit better.
You'd still be like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard about all that shit.
But yeah, if I would just love Jesus on the pod. I just because I think it's Christians as well. Certainly Jewish believe that the Messiah's coming back.
Yeah.
Or the Jewish people think the Messiah's even coming. That he's coming. So if that's to be taken on face value, that means there's a chance he's coming. If the Messiah comes back anytime soon, he should go on a pod. For sure.
Well, it's the best way to get his
get the word out there. And
that's
the model. You know,
as
Sermon
our
on the Mount.
500 views a week have shown.
Yeah, but Sermon on the Mount was probably around 500 people, maybe 6. Maybe around. We get 1,000 listeners a week.
He'd be astonished by the subscribers we have.
If we got to him first before other people said like we got 1 million, we said 1,000. He said 1,000.
I would like to hear Carrot Toast's thoughts on Jesus.
What the comments?
Yeah. Well, Jesus, that's a good point. However, from Mega Nut 4000.
Yeah. So Peter the Hermit, Jesus, and Gandhi, I'd like as a round table.
Yeah, I think these are open to and Serena Williams.
Right.
I want a modern tennis player thrown in.
This is from Jack Gadsden. Right.
You're right, boys. What's the biggest animal you could single-handedly sellotape to a lamppost using like quite strong like gaffer tape? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Fantastic
That's
question.
just the best fucking question.
That's fucking brilliant.
That
First
is the perfect question.
because I can't.
What's
Now
the
there's
big-
two. There's two in that because people often misuse sellotape with like gaffer tape. They're two different tapes.
He did.
Which is-
he reiterated that like quite really strong.
So
tape.
he's
he's probably
duct
talking
tape.
He's probably talking.
We're talking
duct
duct tape.
Yeah.
Because I think I prefer the question sellotape.
Do you?
Like what's the biggest animal you could sellotape to a lamppost?
We had to imply endless amounts of sellotape.
Because I think you could duct tape an elephant to a lamppost if you had enough duct tape.
So endless amounts of duct tape.
Yeah, I think you could. But I don't think there's with an infinite amount of sellotape
But
you'd
is
be able to
the only thing you've got?
a roll of it.
Is the only thing you've got is duct tape and a lamppost and you?
And me. Okay.
Because how are you getting the elephant?
Well, it depends on the resources we have external from me and the duct tape. Because if there's a whole team,
And also, if they're standing up and they're just tied to the thing, that's
okay,
easier.
let's do that. Because he
Is
said
it
duct
them-
tape, so
is
let's
that-
stay
it's not
true
them
to the
limited?
question. So it's just
He didn't say duct tape.
he did gaffer tape.
He said kind of strong. I think he specified.
I think
near
he said
he specified near the end. Let me just
yeah.
check.
He said strong tape. This is a pointless check, but let's do it anyway.
Like gaffer tape.
gaffer
So
tape.
gaffer
Okay,
tape.
cool. Thanks.
Gaffer tape.
So let's say let's do this. Let's work this
Yeah.
out together. There's me and you.
Yeah.
We've
Okay,
got
fine,
an infinite amount.
So there's two of us.
We
yeah.
have a roll each of infinite gaffer tape. Right? Yeah? Happy with the parameters?
Yeah.
You don't sound that happy
No, I
with the
do.
parameters.
I do. I'm just thinking.
So we have to be able to lift. Right, what I think
it
our
has
best.
to be. I think it has to be. It has to be suspended above the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because then a
Otherwise,
giraffe,
what's the point?
a giraffe,
Yeah.
you could just run around once.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's-
yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. Horatio, stay in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the best tactic is one of us has to be able to lift the animal up while the other starts gaffer taping until it runs around until it's strong and there's a strong enough hold on the tape for the other to let the animal go and then quickly continue it.
So it's about what animal.
Or
could
on
you-
your knees. You can, if it's a lamppost, you could pass it. One of you could be balancing it on your knees and then you're going around like that.
Yeah, because we could knock it out. Oh no, but that's another
A
item.
deer, easy. I think we could gaffer take a deer to a
Deer, for
lamppost
sure.
with absolutely easily. So we're looking upwards from deer. We're looking upwards from
Deer,
deer.
fine, yeah, deer. I mean,
How about a
deer,
fish?
a deer.
A big old fish, because they're not going to be able to do much movement or anything. I think we could gaffer tape a great white.
Yeah, but no, but the thing about the deer is, even with copious amounts of duct tape, they're heavy. So if you wrapping endless amounts,
Yeah.
is that gonna hold
Yeah.
the weight of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you have to
Duct
do.
tape's strong, man.
Yeah,
Duct tape's strong.
duct tape is strong. Yeah. So
I think a fish is a good, although they've got quite.
is that
blubbery-
bigger though? Is that bigger than a? Yeah, it's bigger. So
Is
a
a
shark.
shark bigger than a deer?
Yeah.
Depends on the
A,
shark.
a white shark, a great white
There's
shark.
many kinds of shark. Well, if we're going for the bigger shark, it'd be the whale shark, but we won't be able to lift it off.
I don't think we'll be able to. But great white shark is in the offing.
Maybe like a black tip shark or even a reef shark. I'm just trying to show off about the different kinds of shark.
But I'm just trying to think, what is the biggest animal we could genuinely do?
That's the conversation we're having.
Yeah, I
you
know.
dickhead. Yeah, but this is the angle I'm coming from, Andrew. What's the biggest animal we could do?
I like the fish angle because it will make it easier.
Flapping wise. Are they dead or alive?
I think we can knock them out.
So you knock them out with the duct tape.
Yeah.
Because we can't use bricks and shit.
No, you can use hands.
You're going to pummel it.
I can pummel it for sure.
If you want to pummel the shark, that's fine.
I think
with
just
me.
focus on the weight and size of it. I think a great white shark is what I would put my.
Again, that's what I've said, and you've told me to focus
No,
on
you
the weight and
no.
size.
You said you said smaller sharks. I think great white shark.
I started with a great white shark.
Can we do bigger than a great white shark?
Great white sharks are pretty heavy, though, because in our plan, we've got to be able to lift it up and start running around with the duct tape whilst holding it up, suspended in the air. Because the original plan was for one of us to be able to
A
pick it
small
up.
great white shark.
Okay, so
Because they can go up to like.
So we're talking black tip shark, yeah.
No, we're talking a smaller. Because the great white sharks, they can be like
Yeah.
megalodons.
But then, yeah. But then the average great white shark is still huge. They
Yeah.
can't be, yeah. So I think
Do you think it's too heavy?
One of us couldn't pick up a whole great white shark. If we both picked it up and held it there, right? We've got the shark on the lamppost. We've got it there. So then you can get the tape, and then one person with one hand can support with the other hand and start duct taping it at the bottom.
The bottom.
And then you're slowly going up with one hand, and then when there's enough there, then you take the other hand and keep going, and then you take one hand off as the duct tape progresses between the two.
And also,
of us.
you can do this movement where you use two hands to push against the lamppost and squeeze it, as opposed to you can push against
it's
it.
push, so it's not so much holding it up.
I think we could do a great white shark. Great white shark. Brilliant.
Hello, Horatio. It's Paul here. Mulling over a question for the live episode. The 100th episode, whilst eating my hearty vegetable and chicken broth, is will you and when will you do a live episode in front of a live studio audience so that we can heckle and interact and see your funniness in front of our eyes. Thank you and congratulations on 100 episodes. It's been a very, very good podcast, which I've enjoyed listening to. Goodbye.
Paul's so much more wholesome when he's eating breakfast.
He is. That's our friend Paul.
We
and if you remember
I never
from
get
when
to see Paul in the morning. I always get to see him in the evening. He's a very different beast from morning to evening.
But when Andrew got punched in the face, Paul was there. So you've now heard the sort of voice of the sort of men who bring out the worst in Andrew. Good question. I'm very much game for a live show. How do you feel about a live show?
I'll absolutely do a live show. I'm not sure do we have the capacity to do one?
I think we could do a live show if we start small. I would love to do a live show, to be honest. But it's that real leap of faith, because you don't want to embarrass yourself. I don't know how spread apart we don't know if some of our listeners are too young to even be allowed to be allowed time off.
Well, if we're going by the demographic of the people who've sent questions, we've got a lot of 17-year-olds.
So if we have around 1,000 listeners a week, can we transfer that into we could do a live pod with 50 people, 30 people.
30, yeah.
30.
It'd be quite nice to start intimate.
Yeah.
I think
but the problem is a lot of our friends would be there to support.
Which is the problem.
Which is a bit of a problem because if it's mainly our friends and they bulk out half of it,
Pointless doing it.
Pointless doing it. And embarrassing.
People don't. Embarrassing. Number 3, they don't listen to the pod.
Yeah. Do you think Paul doesn't listen to the pod?
Of course Paul doesn't listen to it. Paul listened to the one where I got punched in the face because he was involved in the story. Yeah. I'd be flabbergasted if he's listening now.
Yeah. Do you think?
No, he'll listen to this one.
Because he might be involved in
it. No, because also our friends, why would they listen to it? I know a couple of them do. Our housemates do, to be fair. But that's, I think, because they feel quite kind of very involved in it in a way. But like, why would you? My closest friends don't listen to it because it's like they know us, we see them, we talk to them all the time.
I wouldn't listen to it.
I wouldn't listen to it. That's why I say, don't worry about it.
I wouldn't listen to it.
So then they would be there to support it, having not been fans or interested in it. So then half the people wouldn't really give a shit. And it would just be like we're having a friends reunion when only we're allowed to.
And you know that's my biggest fear.
I know.
My entire career is like a school play that my kind of proud parents are like enjoying.
People often ask, people say, well, why hasn't he told me about that? And I say, because why would he want you there?
Exactly. Well, you know, like a friend of ours is like one of our friends, Izzy, is always very up for seeing gigs.
That's the person I said it
Yeah,
to.
exactly. And whenever Izzy finds out about a gig, she'll rock up with 12 people.
Yeah.
And they're there and they're having a great time, but it's like, this is a small, it's just always, it always comes, whenever Izzy says I'm coming to a gig, I'll always arrive.
Performing to your friend sounds horrendous.
Yeah.
I completely get it. And if we were to do a live show, I wouldn't want any of our friends there.
But if you think you would genuinely come to a live show, please make it known. Either via the DMs or comments or something. Just create a bit of thing. We'd do it in London. I know exact room we could do it. We could do it in a small, intimate room.
It'll be nice to have because it's like a Q&A but with more participation directly.
I'll just be able to see them en masse. Yeah. So like I did the preview show with BB, and that was I didn't advertise it at all because I didn't want to waste any of my I knew she was going to sell it out with her fans, so I wasn't going to waste.
Yeah, it's pointless. Yeah.
Yeah, because I need to save it up for moments like this. But it meant that the people who came there, and most of them listened to her podcast, and it's like you get to see the sort of just like.
I'd love to see Ellis.
Yeah, well, just see what does it look like en masse? What is the demo? What is the clothes they wear and what you know?
Yeah, but then I think when presented with a room of 17-year-old girls, I think we might be throwing off our shtick a bit. It would be a lot more intimidating than it might sound.
That's less intimidating than a room of like 90-year-old men.
That's 17-year-old girls. They're the most scary people on the planet.
Yeah, but imagine 50, 90-year-old men in there.
Oh, I'd love that.
What, just 90-year-old?
Yeah. Because you can't say anything wrong with it.
It's not rah. That's 70. 90.
I would like slowly die. Well, you'll be more concerned that they're not taking anything in or even being conscious around it.
You're not going to get much from them.
No. But no, it could be I think it needs we need a bit more momentum behind the podcast just so we don't embarrass ourselves on one. But if there's an interest behind it.
We've gone enough that we can push for one. I think we can do one in the new year. We're definitely going to do one next year.
Yeah?
That's
I'm
a
100% down for it.
We'll definitely do one. I'd love to do one.
What we could...
Apparently it's very weird doing one though, because I've spoken to a couple of stand-ups who've done it.
I can't imagine it.
Which is like, so Jesse and Bibi do them all the time now.
Yeah.
And they say it's very strange and they've kind of got used to them. But then I've got friends who've done it who are stand-ups, and the kind of, the urge when you're a stand-up is when you're on stage with the mic is you kind of just want to, you want to perform, you want to,
yeah.
But it's not quite like that, but then it's not like a podcast, so it's like a weird mix. I don't know. It's
trying to recreate exactly what happens here, but that's almost impossible when you've got an audience there, because we've just had the camera there. And I think it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Even if just hearing laughs, if they were to happen.
Yeah.
That would really throw me off.
It really would.
I think it would actually make me a lot more powerful.
Yeah, it would. I think it would make you more powerful than ever.
I think I'd become a monster. I think I would.
Right.
Be the first joke I make and then look into the crowd then. Oh, you guys like that?
Yeah. And then flashes of the Munich perch.
Always the perches with you.
Right, you got one?
I have one.
Good.
This is an agony aunt style question.
Good.
From Too Many Cooks Spoil the Broth? ?
I'm glad they left it open-ended.
That's the name, because like agony aunts have different names. When people message in anonymously and they create their own name.
Oh, okay.
Too Many Cooks Spoil the Broth? ? I've made that up.
Oh, okay.
Because she asked me not to say her name. But you'll see. Just to stop you two harping on in your own stories, here is a question for you, full stop.
Okay, rude.
Quite aggressive start to the question,
like it,
but we like it. We like that self-flagellation. Dearest Agony Uncles, recently met a guy on the dating apps. Went on a couple of dates and all was well. Third date, we happened to go on a night out with his friends. By the end of the night, I fancied one of his best friends more than my actual date. Lots more in common, etc., etc. Is there any world where this could work out between me and his friend, or should I walk away from the situation completely?
Do they give any context of how they knew each other? I forgot. Did she say anything about
dating app? Met a guy on a dating app. Went out with
dating
his friends.
App. What have you got to lose?
Well,
I mean, there's the moral responsibility of protecting their friendship.
Hold on, a couple of dates. So two or three dates. So a couple of dates. You've gone on 2 or 3 dates. It's probably like your third date, and then the guy says, "Oh, my friends are out there. If you fancy going for a night out with them."
And it's Prince Charming.
It's Prince fucking Charming.
And it's only bloody Prince Charming.
It's only Prince Charming. You're Fiona in the castle.
You fucking ogre.
Prince Charming is the date. No, Prince Charming is the dating app guy, but then the real guy is Shrek.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Because then that's the real love.
Yeah,
she's meant
that's the
to be
message
with
of
Prince Charming. But she actually wants to be
it's
with
who
Shrek.
on paper she should be with. And there's some fugly guy,
some fugly Prince Charming dickhead. But then Shrek comes along
and saves her from a dragon.
If we haven't answered your question there, I don't know how we can.
Well, I guess the metaphor, I'd say rewatch the first track and
see how you feel.
And I think there's a lot of gems to be picked up in that. But seriously, I think it's a dating app. It's not a huge bridge to burn. It's not like it's a workplace thing or a school friend or something like that. I would say play it delicately, but go bold and be a bit naughty.
Be a bit cheeky. I mean, I completely agree. But there's all. I
Be
think
a little bit naughty.
one of the points I reckon might be a thing, and this is something to consider, is how, like, do you have his contact details? Because it's unlikely that she does. You meet a girlfriend or a boyfriend's friends on a night out. You're not swapping numbers, are you? So therefore, the only contact she might be able to have with this guy,
Instagram DMs.
they might, yeah. But if they followed each other on Instagram,
Easy. She goes on his
what
Instagram.
I think to be a
goes on who's following him.
Yeah.
Finds the friend. They would have followed each other anyway.
true, yeah, true.
So,
Mine some data and find the guy. I think the right thing to do here is, you clearly are realizing that this guy that you met on the dating app isn't going to be the person that you want to be with, or you're that interested in, even if just one of his mates is better.
Yeah, that's not.
Therefore, you should kind of end things with him.
No matter what.
And then
no matter what.
and then slip into the other bloke's DMs.
Slowly but surely.
Because there is nothing to lose. I think it might be a likely situation that, I don't know, it depends on how good friends they are.
Because he could be a shit friend.
He could.
But the problem is,
if they're just
the problem is, if they're close friends and he chooses that he likes you too, you should sleep with him and then break up with him, because you don't want to be someone who's that much of a shit friend to his male friend.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a weird thing,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like, you know, you've caught yourself in a bit of a catch-22, because if he does go for you, he's not worth going for.
True.
That is the issue.
True. It could be. It depends how. I think you need to work out how close the friendship is as well. Because if it was just some blokes that you've
Do you take just some bloke on your double date?
No, you don't. No, you don't. They must be pretty close friends, actually.
Yeah. You
They
take
must
your
be pretty
hottest
close
friend
friends.
for advice.
Yeah.
Not again.
Not again.
This always happens.
No. Yeah. No. Well. Or, I don't know, the guy could also agree. There's many situations that could unfold here. The guy could agree that, yeah, this wasn't going really well between me and this girl. And if you two had a spark, fine, go for it. I'm not sure you can be that protective if you've had 3 fucking dates with a girl. So, but any of these situations can unfold. And the only way you find out what situation it is if you go for it.
I think that's...
Finish it with a guy, slide into the other guy's DMs.
Yeah.
And then ask them to subscribe to the Patreon.
Now, this is a comedian friend of mine, so always to be taken with a pinch of salt.
Put your seatbelts on, guys. It's going to be a funny ride.
This is Michael May.
Horatio and Andrew,
I like his voice.
I'm stagnating a little bit in my social life, and I'm finding it hard to really fall in love with myself again. Wondered if you guys have any advice for how to reignite the fire within yourself, for yourself, and whether you think it's important to really love the one opportunity that you have for life, or whether it's fine to kind of drift through it. Thanks a lot. Love the podcast. Boys gone wild.
So Michael's a close friend of mine. I love him
got a
very
very
much,
soothing
and he's a
voice.
very good comedian. He does, as always, it's always interesting speaking to him, because he's like, his kind of main idol is Norm Macdonald, and he's sort of a bit of a socially
I can see that.
Socially, he's a bit of and it's always he wins every social interaction I've ever had with him. Like he always wins.
How uncomfortable is you?
He's a master of the craft, and he's the least sincere guy, but so insincere it's sincere.
Yeah.
Where you don't have no idea if he's being sincere or not, and he doesn't seem to know either. So conversation with him, it's very hard to distinguish.
He really reminded me of someone.
It's very. So I don't know how much, but we'll take the question on face value. If you're,
I think that's the wrong thing to do here.
okay,
From what I've understood and what you've said about Michael,
yeah,
I think we shouldn't take it at face value.
okay,
I think we should provide a very ironic answer, because I haven't met him,
yeah,
and
But
I don't
if you
want
had
to.
to fight
I don't want
irony
to
with
lose.
irony.
I don't want to lose a social battle. I win social battles, Michael. You've met your match here. Although he sounds like a pro.
He's a bro. He's good.
So what was it? He feels like he's lost himself.
Well, he feels like his social life's dimming down a bit, which is a thing that happens in your mid-20s. You reach a stage where, you know, everyone, you start slowly. You're like wet clay, and you're starting to dry a little bit. You know,
Get yourself back in the kiln, Michael.
there we go. Get back in the kiln.
Get back in the
Get
kiln.
wet again.
Get wet again.
Yeah.
Get wet again. Remember what it was to be a young piece of untouched clay, unmolded by social interactions, unmolded by life. Get yourself wet. Get yourself molded by the right person. What you need to be is touched in the right spots by the right person to be turned into the vase that we know you can be.
Yeah.
We know you can be a vase in displaying beautiful flowers to the world. But right now, you're just a measly pot who can't even hold some Smarties because of all the dents and cracks there are within you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So it's mostly pottery-based advice for Michael, is what I can see fit.
Got another comedian, Tadao Malunge, another great comic. Yeah, let's just go for it. Why not?
Hello, Horatio Gould. As per request, this is your question from your friend, from your acquaintance, Tadao Malunge. What is your goal in comedy? Who do you want to become? Who do you think you are? That's the fun. Who do you think you are right now? And how do you think this person becomes who you want to be? Who are you, Horatio?
So Tad is in the comedy scene. Tad's like the most hustle mindset of any comic I know.
Yeah.
He once gigged 50 times in a month, and he will often post Instagram stories of him on stage and put music of like starting from the bottom. Now we're here. Drake. He dresses in all night. It's very much. He's taken like a rapper's mentality of like the streets aren't kind, so you got to be mean. I don't know, whatever those rappers are saying these days. I don't bloody know. But he's got very much that. So this is a kind of question Tad would ask me anyway.
Yeah.
Very seriously. And we've gone from one of the most insincere guys in comedy to one of the most sincere guys in comedy.
I was going to say that's words.
Yeah. It's
I'm not
literally
sure
he's
whack yourself in the kiln is going to work. For
no,
this.
this guy is very sincere, and he is asking for my goal because he's very focused on goals, and he is a very hustle mindset guy. I'll start with you. What are your goals in comedy?
Just have fun, man.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess so.
Well, I don't know. It depends. It depends how things go at this point. I mean, I'm not doing any stand up. It depends how the podcast goes and all these things. I mean, we've had some good sketches. It's hard to say exactly what. I'm not really a goal orientated person.
What you're not? What?
I'm nothing.
Pussy orientated.
But yeah, sure. I'm a financial crime specialist.
Pussy orientated. That's why.
Who likes vaginas. I don't. It's hard to know exactly what goals or anything. That's more of a. I don't know. As we spoke about, I'm not long term thinking in many ways. I just live week by week, day by day,
week by week, episode by episode.
Haven't been cancelled yet. Subscribers are slowly going up. Patrons are slowly going down. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I don't think of it as in like who do you want to be, because I don't think you can imply your role models because the medium was so different. The people who inspired you growing up, they were before the podcast.
I want to be like Sal Volcano.
Who's Sal Volcano?
He is from the Impractical Jokers.
Yeah.
He does Impractical Jokers and he has a podcast with one of the hyenas.
Oh yeah, with So that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Sal Volcano.
So you want to do
nothing.
A prank show and a podcast.
Absolutely.
What I want to do it all, and I'll take what I'm given. So whatever I'm allowed to do, I'll do it. Is where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
What about comedy porn?
I'll do comedy porn if I'm allowed to do it.
Well,
you know, I very much.
No
have
one's.
a,
You've
I
got,
have a
you've
lot
got
of.
this. You've got the setup.
I do.
No one's fucking stopping you, man.
What? So how would comedy porn work in this setup?
Here's
so
the lighting.
So we'd clear away this.
We have comedic sex ratio.
So how would comedic sex?
Do I really have to spell this out?
Yeah, you do need to spell it out.
We have to spell it out. I walk in dressed as a clown.
Wait, both of us. We fuck.
No. No. So there's, the clown thing when they squirt water out of. Okay, forget me. I'm not in it. You're with a woman. The woman walks in as a clown. You know the thing where please, two. No, come on, don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. Set realistic goals. You know the thing where where the clown squirts water out of the flour on there. Instead, that's milk coming out of her teeth.
And then am I like? She's like, smell this flour, and I go,
and you go,
and then I get blasted. That's a good opening gag.
Absolutely. And then there's a dildo which is like and makes the sound. She puts it up her bum and and then you two proceed to have the funniest sex that the world has ever seen. Okay? Good.
Okay, well that's one of the things I would be like if the opportunity came for me, or it could be like the podcast where I self-produce.
So that's what I'm saying.
You know,
and I think what's his name again? Sorry,
Tadawa.
I think that's what Tadawa was saying, is that you've got to be the person you want to be in life. Yeah, what he's saying is, who do you want to be? Who are you now? You need to be that person.
I guess.
Therefore, if you're going to do anything in comedy, why aren't you doing everything? Why aren't you creating new kinds of comedy?
It's true. I guess my attitude with podcasting comedy is you have to assume the industry won't accept you, so you need to try and make it without them. And if they do, that's an added bonus. And that should be my approach to comedy.
That's very similar to what James Corden said on his Piers Morgan's life stories.
Is that what he said?
It's almost exactly
but the industry
what he said.
accepted him very early.
Well, no, he had to fight his way in.
Oh, because he was fat. Because he was a big chunky monkey. Fucking James Corden. Did you watch James Corden's Piers Morgan?
No, I just saw a highlight on, because I've been... Okay, basically...
Come on. We're getting real.
I've been moderately interested in the I'm a Celebrity series this year.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't think it is.
That is fine.
The reason I am is because Richard Madeley's on it.
Have you been watching it? I didn't know it was on.
I watched the opener, I watched the second one. I missed last night.
Were
So
they
I'm going
good?
to watch it tonight. What's the time? We've got 2 hours, we're fine. No, Richard Madeley is, as I've been obsessed. He's the guy. He's from how everyone knows me from the podcast. You can understand why I love Richard Madeley. I don't need to explain why I love him, right? And most of it comes from YouTube compilations of him being a real life Alan Partridge, sure. So I'm ready to dive into him. What I want is, from the highlights that I've seen of him online, the shit he says on presenting Richard and Judy, presenting This Morning, whatever you might do. What I'm really ready for is Richard Madeley under 24/7 camera coverage to see exactly the ridiculous shit that comes out of his mouth. So I'm very interested in I'm a Celebrity this year. The first 2 episodes, he's come off really nice.
So disappointing.
Disappointing, because sometimes and it's kind of made me realize that highlight reels of a person might not necessarily give the whole picture.
Sure. So are you seeing the Richard Madeley the person, and he's less of a meme than you thought he was?
And he's actually quite nice. I'm going to give
What
it...
do you think of I'm Celeb? What do you think of I'm Celeb?
Hold on. I'm going to give it a few more episodes, because I think starve him a bit, make him eat some bull's anus, and then maybe we'll get some of the more... Because he needs to be talking about politics for it to come out.
Yeah.
He's just seemed nice, but they're all going to seem nice for a bit, because...
They haven't gone rabid yet.
Exactly. They'll go rabid when they're a week in and they start giving less of a shit that they're on a national TV show. I'm a Celebrity... I mean, I stopped watching it since my parents divorced. I think many children of divorced parents will understand.
Many listeners will understand.
It used to be a kind of a thing that you get together as a family. Then when you don't have any family left, it's like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Let's just all go into our separate rooms and cry.
So you've famously
said, and I would be the best on there.
No, you famously said that you'd go on Strictly and be the best.
And I'd be the best on there. Yeah.
Does that go out? Would you do I'm a Celeb?
No.
Would you not do I'm a Celeb?
No. I have. Look.
Would you do I'm a Celeb now?
If I got to... Of course I would. Of course I would. I would go on...
Wait.
Right. There's 2 different questions.
Who's this guy?
There's 2 different questions.
He does like a very moderately successful
2 different
podcast.
questions. Right. If I was asked for any celebrity reality TV show, if I wanted to go on it now, the only one I wouldn't do is Strictly Come Dancing.
Because you're not ready.
Because I want to win it by merit. And I would have...
What do you mean by merit?
Because what they'd think is, who's this guy?
Vote him off.
No. Who's this guy? Well, he's clearly a professional dancer.
So why would you wait for that then?
Because the public need to know me, and then they need to be impressed.
Yeah.
Every Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah.
Love Island.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Celebrity. Steph's packed lunch. Steph's packed lunch. I'd be on there in a heartbeat. To see the nation go collectively.
You know Steph's packed lunch.
What?
Steph packed lunch. Do you know Steph's packed lunch?
Yeah, it's always on after this morning.
Apparently, once it recorded 0 viewers recently.
Oh, fuck off.
I've heard it.
That can't be true. That's impossible. It can't happen. It can't happen. It's on ITV or Channel 4.
I don't know. I was told.
It can't happen. Bullshit.
I was told by a reliable source that it was.
Nonsense. A reliable source. 0 views on Channel 4. Nonsense. Drivel. Nonsense. Doesn't happen.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but neither do I. I've never seen a second of Steph's Packed Lunch, but I know that
Sounds
Channel 4.
like you know a lot
I know
about
that Channel
stuff.
4 can't record 0 viewers.
Right.
What's your opinions on I'm a Celebrity?
I wouldn't do it.
No, but just yeah.
But I don't know, actually.
No,
I think it's changed now. Because obviously, when we were growing up in the noughties, it was like
Should we
this.
do an I'm a Celebrity podcast? Like a Succession one, but with I'm a Celebrity. Because there's gold on there. I promise you there's gold.
I know there is.
Naughty Boy is a maniac.
Yeah.
He's like, I honestly believe he has, maybe some of you guys have watched it. I wholeheartedly believe he might have the intellect of a 7-year-old.
I mean, it'll be good, but I wonder if it'll cross the demographic, seeing as it's not 17-year-old girls, I don't think, are watching it. And that's sort of our main demo.
Maybe. A lot of people watch it anyway. If you want an I'm a Celebrity spin-off podcast,
please
comment.
a lot of you have to make
You're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be a real force for us to make the effort to do it, because it's not Succession where it's a weekly thing with 9 episodes or 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's daily.
Once a day for like a month. But still, anyway,
you could do an I'm a Celebrity live stream. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, yeah.
With I'm a Celebrity, it's weird because it's like when I grew up, it was seen as washed up.
In the 50s, you old fart.
Keep it fucking clean.
Sorry, I'll keep it.
Keep it civil.
Keep it civil.
I'm a young fart.
Have you got any more alcohol?
Yes, I got some more beers. Is that your last Guinness?
Yeah, I'll get another one.
I
would just do a 5-hour podcast.
Let's just do a Joe Rogan.
Let's just go ham on it.
Let's go ham. This is the one. If I was in the noughties growing up, it was like seen as quite a trashy thing to do. But then I think since Joel Dommett did it, weirdly, I think there was a turning point where Joel Dommett was like a good stand-up who went on it and everyone said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
He used to present MTV Europe, by the way. Me and Ollie saw him when we were in Turkey.
But when we
were always freaked out by how veiny his arms were.
But when you're a stand-up, doing trash is actually success. So it's like weird. It's interesting with like me and BB, where she's an actress and I'm a stand-up, where it's like things that I'm like, it would be an absolute dream to do that, and she thinks they're below her. It's like you can be a stand-up and it not at all go against your.
Do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's panel shows and stuff. She's like, I don't really want to be doing that, and like panel shows is an absolute dream for me.
Who's like Ramesh Ranganathan, I guess.
Yeah.
He's quite a big name at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if he went, he'll be fine.
Absolutely fine.
He'll be absolutely fine.
It's actually.
I think the
but
only.
Then
person,
if it was like a semi-respected actor,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So then part of me is like, I don't know. I think with a lot of these things, it's like this weird thing where certainly growing up with this idea of integrity implied with you with a lot of kind of that Stuart Lee's aspect.
I was about to mention Stuart Lee.
But Stuart Lee started in the 80s when there was 15 comedians and they all handed the Perry Award around between them with whoever hadn't won it that year.
Yeah.
And he came out of punk rock. Now there's 1,010,000 comedians and you're all... It's
and
not...
Who are the 10?
There's 10. They joined yesterday. So... It's like, it's such a fragmented thing. I think if you can ride the wave of something trash and jump off on your feet like Joel Dommett has, then it is all right.
Is that his name?
Joel Dommett, I think.
Dommett.
Dommett,
yeah. So
and also Joel Dommett, just talking about the sustainability of Joel Dommett, he also got blackmailed and revealed, he got hooked in, I don't know what it's called, but he got blackmailed, yeah. And revenge porn was put out of him like wanking and stuff, and he rode that like a fucking champion.
Seen the vid?
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I've seen the vid.
What's his knob like?
Average. Okay. No, as I said, we've discussed my opinions on. He's clearly watched the pod.
Yeah.
As in, he watched it 10 years before it came out. It's just Nuge. You got to ride the wave, man. You got to ride the wave. You've got nothing to be ashamed of. Let it happen. Everyone does
So
it.
obviously, when I was growing up, or when I started stand up, the idea of me ever considering I'm a celebrity would be just way off the card.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think as you get older, you become less pretentious, and also your dreams slightly diminish.
Yeah, it's expectation.
Expectations go. You know what? That'd be great for my career.
But it's like if you're gonna stay doing podcast stand up and just slowly build it up, and you could do something that would just give it all a little big bump. Actually, I'd struggle with I'm a Celeb because I wouldn't like the I'm a Celeb fans that would then dilute the. Because then people who'd come wouldn't be it wouldn't be a natural fan base.
Cultivating the audience.
So that would actually be a bit of an
would
issue.
skew it a lot.
If you're doing live shows and then suddenly loads of I'm a Celeb people come.
You're not exactly cultivating an audience here.
It's not much of it. It's like it's a barren winter on. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the first pilgrims to go over to America. Those hardcore,
I was thinking the same thing,
like Crucible era.
Yeah.
And it's like you're having to stake a society in the ground and build it. And if there's a fallow year, that's tough. And that's what I'm barely, cultivating. I'm cultivating some shitty crops at the moment.
Or like a rock statue. You're chipping away at a rock and you're trying to create kind of an image of Zeus.
Yeah.
Which is your audience.
And what does it look like?
At the moment.
Yeah.
It looks like a slightly chipped away rock.
So it's a big slab of rock.
A massive slab of rock. And you've just attacked the left-hand corner.
Yeah, that's a good
No, because
analogy.
I don't know I think the audience comes when people start to come and see you for you.
Yeah.
And how much have you got of that?
Well, I've purposely avoided it because I'm waiting. Because I never advertise my gigs because I don't want people to come until I need them to come.
Yeah.
Because
I think is a good idea.
When you want them to come, you want them to pay and you want them to all come at once.
Yeah.
And fill out shows.
Yeah.
If there's going to be an audience there, I wouldn't waste it.
But is it
and
also?
If I'm not getting paid to be somewhere.
Also, I was reading a Instagram story from Abby Clark.
Wow. Oh yeah,
Abby Clark. Yeah. And
how did you find her naturally?
Yeah.
Oh,
I found her through her Jill and Tracy thing.
I don't know that.
Oh, hiya Jill, hiya Tracy. How are you? Yeah, it was really funny sketch. Kind of fancied her a bit as well. So
I might be producing one of the podcasts, so be careful that you don't.
It's nothing but love. I think she's a beautiful woman, and I admire her comment.
Yeah, but you're probably going to meet her at some point, so just be careful. It's not like it's not like Suzanne Reid where you can say.
I'm being respectful and nice.
I'm just saying you can't just like.
No, I'm saying she's.
You can't chuck a bucket of cum at the telly like you would Suzanne Reid, because. Do you know what I mean? It's a slight because it's just me and you, and I'm the only person who's shooting in the industry. You can easily chuck buckets of cum at me.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
but
I know.
I'm gonna take if you chuck a bucket of cum at me, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna hand
and
it
there
to
is
her
a
as
different.
shot glass.
There's a different. I wouldn't chuck a bucket of cum at. Shame, isn't it? It's a shame. I wasn't saying. I wasn't saying anything like that.
That was my bad.
That was.
Now
I've been into. That's the prosecco coming out, but I wouldn't. Right? No, because that's it's an interesting thing because I think whenever I go to any of your gigs, I do fall in love with a lot of women there.
Yeah, it's because you haven't seen that many women.
No,
I don't mean in life.
No, because funny women are like fucking hot.
Yeah,
they're really, really, really hot. Yeah. Funny women are so attractive.
Yeah,
and that's what Abby Clark is. She's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
and she's also a very pretty, good-looking girl, very beautiful. And so on her Instagram story, let's get back to the main page. So on her Instagram story, she was saying that she's taking a bit of hiatus from, or that she feels bad because she's like a comedian who posts regularly on her stories. So she'll like her day will be encapsulated by 15 Instagram stories where she'll be making little jokes, self-deprecating jokes about her day. Yeah. That's what she does. And then she's been quite absent from Instagram recently.
And you're furious about.
I am. Where else am I going to get my internet porn from? I don't want to say these things.
Say that.
I didn't want to, but you made me make the joke.
That's what I mean.
You made me make the joke.
It's a different thing.
It really is something. No, because I like her Instagram.
She's not
stories.
Suzanne Reid.
I know. I like her Instagram. There was a joke. Yeah. I didn't mean it.
I know,
it's irony.
You know.
Yeah.
Especially what's going on with comedy at the moment.
No, not at all. You said it. And you don't act like you didn't put that on a platter for me. So, no, I watch her. She makes me laugh. She's funny. And I like her dance stuff with her parents. I think it's very funny. But So she'd taken a bit of a break from it, and I realised that she hadn't posted any of her stand-up clips. And it's all coming back, and you're looking at me with dazed eyes, but it's all coming back.
When you say realised, you...
You understand that you're complaining about me for sexualising people,
I'm not
sexualising comedians, when I haven't said anything like that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm backtracking and then knocking down jokes that are there because you're setting them up. And because we've done this together for like 7 years, I can't not do it. Okay? So, she did a fucking Instagram story about how she hasn't been on it. And I've also realised that she didn't do many of her stand-up because I was interested in her stand-up because I'd seen her Instagram stories and some of her sketches, but I wondered what her stand-up was like.
Yeah.
And she made the point of that she doesn't, when she kind of got real for a minute on her Instagram stories and saying that she doesn't post many of her stand-up clips because of the nature of, making a type 5, then maybe a 10, then eventually getting to half an hour, then an hour, is that it's a lot to get it there. So you don't want to, when you've got a lot of Instagram followers particularly, you don't want to splurge all your jokes because you want people to come and pay for your shows. And then eventually when you've got that hour, people aren't saying we've seen this all before. And she was also saying, which I think was a really good point, of you can go and listen to a singer or a band or whoever, and it's about you want to hear the hits.
Yeah.
With stand-up or comedy or anything, always new, constantly new.
No, it's true, and it's like, especially
you see, I was actually making quite a nice informed joke, not an informed point about comedy, rather than throwing cum buckets at this fucking TV because Horatius had a few proseccos and thinks I'm a sex pest. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I think with Abby, it's a great example of someone with a lot of people from our generation of stand-up, like, made a lot more headway during lockdown because lockdown happened. There was all the live acts who were getting better gigs than younger comics because they're more experienced, because they're better, they have more material. It then went online, so everyone who was understanding internet, so she could put out loads of these sketches and build it, but then she's still very new to stand up, and it takes ages, so it doesn't match the success she's had because you can't she's still developing 10s, 15s.
She's doing I saw that she was opening for that bloke that does those Vice videos where he's like interviews people on the street.
Jamali Maddox?
No, not as good as Jamali. Like a posh white blonde haired guy who does. You'll know him if you
Uber
saw him.
Butler.
No, not him. No, forget it. But he does. She's opening for him, and he's doing some quite big, because of his internet fame. He's doing some quite big rooms.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because of his internet fame.
Yeah.
Again, never seen a shred of his stand up.
But then you
does
don't want
seem quite
to
like
see,
two internet people going off and doing stand up, which.
But then for me, weirdly, the start of any success I've had on the internet has only been through stand-up. So I've had to keep on putting everything out there, which is, so it's like an opposite thing, where the start of any TikTok things was me during lockdown putting everything I had.
Go for a week.
Yeah. All right. I've got a question here from an old flame. You might recognise this voice. One sec.
One of your old flames.
No, that's my voice.
We have not had any sexual history before.
Why haven't you had me on the show? I've been there from the beginning and I helped kickstart both of your careers. You're a bunch of know-nothing, talentless hacks, and you couldn't carry my underwear with the help of 10 men.
That's Michael, her dad, our first co-host, a good friend of ours who we went to uni with. We shall be getting on the podcast very soon, I think, to do... I spoke to him doing a 5-hour podcast on Checkmate.
I was about to say the same thing. It shouldn't be... I don't think we have Michael here sitting there. I think Michael... he deserves something more special as well.
He was our first third
He was
man.
our first guy. And I was going to say our best, but Mark is also great. They were both fantastic. But... what you want to do is dive into Michael's interests.
Yeah.
And Michael's main interest is a student short film called Checkmate.
That's it. My entire relationship's built with this man has been on this student film, which is one of the most phenomenal piece of filmmaking I've ever seen. I told him I was doing film studies. I was like, use into film. And then he managed to get a group of 30 of us back to his tiny dorm room and showed Checkmate, and immediately I was in love. He's seen this film over 100 times now.
He was a master's student while you were in undergrad.
He was 4th year, and
which made him even more ethereal than he already is. I fucking adore Michael. He gives me a lot of dad vibes, as in because he's Irish. He looks a bit like my dad in some ways. I remember
his
feeling
surname's her dad.
I was pretty nervous when he's got daddy issues.
Her dad.
That was the first time I connected with him. He's had some trouble with his father previously, and he made the joke of his surname is a dad, and he said had a dad, and I was like, okay, I get you.
Great ones. Every Northern Irish person, I know it's annoying when posh people do a Northern Irish accent, but I feel it's warranted here. Every time I speak to Northern Irish people, they always have the funniest stories about nicknames at school.
Okay.
We had this one kid we called Teapot because he stood like this and he's always steaming. Just like, I don't fucking know what that means.
Yeah. Is it annoying when posh people do a Northern Irish accent?
I think in general, making fun of any parochial accent is far more offensive than I thought it was. It's not as fun as that.
Northern Irish?
Yeah, Northern Irish. Of course they do. They can't fucking stand that shit because they, you know.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
You're half Irish, but you're English, you know.
I am, but no, I think we should get Michael on for a viewing.
We'll do a bit by bit.
We'll do a viewing, and we'll have to work out the mechanics of how exactly it works. But trust me, you'll want to see this film as well. I have a question, and it is: what does a person do with 10 days of isolation? Day 1: wrap yourself in bubble wrap, and jump around the house, popping every single bubble until you eventually are flat.
Day 2 to 10, strum yourself silly. I'd say just...
Well, that's the end of the fucking question, isn't it? Day 2 to 10. So our answer was, wrap yourself in bubble wrap and pop them all, and then wank.
2 to 10.
Then fucking strum yourself off for the next 8 days.
I don't know what she wants from this question. 10 days of isolation, and you want our advice as what you can do. I think you should use this time to think heavily on what you've done. Because
in the previous days of isolation.
It's a way to pass time.
Horrible
if you constantly
cycle.
reflect on the last minute.
Yeah, what did I just do 10 seconds ago? Was it worth it?
That's
what have I learned from that?
I think obsessive, excessive reflection.
Visceral, negative self-reflection.
Just constant,
horrible thinking. Like nothing's ever good enough. Nothing you do will ever be worthy of what you should be doing with this time. You're presented with an opportunity, and you should always be disappointed with the actions that you do within that opportunity. Always. I don't know. Write a book.
How do you get that moustache looking so strong? Do you wax that bad boy, or is that just good genes? Want to know? Thanks. Asking for a friend.
So the thing is, I've been working
it was
for a while.
Sort of aimed at me.
Mostly it's in the genes. A lot of it, growing a good beard or any kind of facial hair, is all in the genes. So what I've realised is like not all of us can be blessed in their ability to grow facial hair as the next person. So what you firstly need to do to grow a great moustache, and that can be said for any kind of facial hair, is accept that you're blessed. Yeah. And then once you realize that, then you start to care for your facial hair like it's one of your, it's like it's a child. So I think I like to get a package in, this kind of cardboard box package, and it has 3 things in. It's got shaved butter in, which is the main thing that you do.
No, that's mine.
And then it's got moisturizer after it. And there's something called pre-shave in there as well, and that's like a little squirty thing.
No.
Now what I do is so you just use that, and the company's called.
I actually don't know what it's called.
The company's called, not entirely sure, but what it is so. Growing a good beard is much like bringing up a child, is what I'm saying. You've got to care for it, you've got to believe in it, but you've also got to put the right ointments on it.
I think, or I'll say, the big thing I see with people with moustaches that they seem to miss is it's all...
That they look like bellends?
Yeah, but a moustache is hair seen relative to the rest of your facial hair. For example...
That was the most insufferable answer I think I've ever heard.
If you see hair on your lip, but then you've got a massive beard, that's not a moustache. which is the World War II.
It's the absence of other facial hair.
It's making sure you've got to treat the rest of the hair that isn't the moustache like Dwayne The Rock Johnson's head. You got to, every time. It's got to be like whack-a-mole. Every single time you see a little cunt sprout up, I wet shave every single day, and I have
Every day?
prep scrub, which makes sure
I've already been through this.
Prep scrub, shave butter, and moisturising.
And he leaves them everywhere in the bathroom, which is why I know all of the fucking things.
And I get sent them at a faster rate than I used to.
Hilariously, I now know the cardboard package because
Yeah.
I answer the door all the fucking time because I live downstairs. And, that's a shaving thing.
Yeah, but they send it to me faster than I can use it, so there's an excess of it.
So in a way, to have the best moustache, you need to be afraid of facial hair.
You got to be. It's about, as the first thing I was taught in film studies about mise en scène, about framing. It's not about what's in the frame as much as what's not in the frame. That is how you should treat the moustache.
So it's not what's in the tash.
It's not what.
It's out. It's what's out of the tash.
Yeah, what's out of the tash. So it's actually
That
about
was
the
a
work.
very easy thing for you to do.
It was about the work outside of it. That's all the questions.
That's all the questions.
That's every single one. Do
That's
you have
every-
any other ones, or that was it?
No, that's me done. Yeah, that's.
So, thank you. To 100 more, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
100 did take a while. I mean, you've only done 70.
Well, thanks for that. We will celebrate when I hit my 100 because apparently this is an individual milestone that is just important. It's all about ratio. This is a ratio's 100.
Well, we can have another 100 for 100 of the new brand of the pod. But until then,
Until I qualify.
no. It's been 100 to 100 more.
To 100 more. Keep comment about the live show. That's a good thing.
Comment
to
about the
start
live show.
seeing
Comment about the I'm a Celeb series.
What about the oh yeah, God.
Potential if you have any interest in something like that.
I mean, I think it would be funny.
And yeah,
Keep commenting. Thank you all for subscribing.
subscribe to the Patreon
We love you very much in a very distant manner.
in a very distant sort of.
Subscribe to the Patreon. The
emotion
content
on
on the
a baseball
Patreon has been better than the main episode.
Yeah,
recently.
it's been good. I mean, it's for the amount of patrons we have, we give them their money.
We give him the balls because also it's after we've done a main episode.
And if I'm drinking in the first
if
episode,
he's drinking, then it's gold. I promise you, then it's fucking gold.
because then you know, as soon as the Patreon episode, not only am I too drunk to do a podcast because I've just drunk all the way through one whole, and this is in 2 hours. But it's also knowing that the repercussions are way less because it's 46.
Because there's 40 people.
There's 40 people who will see it. So really,
So the reins really come off. I'm often quite dazzled by what's happening. It's a massive vibe change because I'm not that much more drunk than when I
but
started.
as soon as the Patreon episode started, I'm like, 40 fucking people are seeing this shit.
What are we going to talk about today then, you cunts?
So
And it'll
yeah.
say some pretty obscene things.
But thank you very much. We'll see you next week as ever.
As ever. For 101.
Goodbye.